This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. So far this year, over 50 gigawatt hours of batteries have been installed into NEVs in China, which is an increase of 32% compared to last year. And the top three companies control nearly 80% of the market. The biggest by far is still CATL, and it just formed a joint venture to make battery cells in Beijing for a couple of smaller Chinese automakers. BAIC and phone-turned automaker Xiaomi announced a partnership with CATL to develop, produce, and sell lithium-ion batteries for NEVs and storage devices. Together, they'll invest roughly $140 million into the new joint venture and plan to have enough capacity to power 120,000 vehicles a year. So it's clearly not a massive deal, but we expect to see more partnerships like this if the EV price war in China continues. That way, the smaller automakers get the batteries that they need without having to spend as much money. VW sales in China are down by something like 1 million units over the last 5 years, but it's pumping more money into the market to help try and turn that around. VW is boosting its investment in its joint venture with JAC by an additional $683 million, while JAC will invest another $223 million as well. It also has JVs with FAW, SAIC, and XPeng, but its partnership with JAC is the only one it owns a majority of. In 2020, it increased its ownership to 75%. In November of last year, VW said it planned to use more local content and develop a platform for low-cost EVs in China. So this fresh investment will likely go towards those efforts. There's government incentives to build and install EV chargers in the U.S., and the charging infrastructure isn't big enough to meet future EV targets. So we're not surprised to see that Blink Charging is going to triple production of its EV chargers in the U.S., which replaces previous plans to make chargers overseas. It announced that it's going to build a new 30,000 square foot production facility in Maryland with a capacity to make over 50,000 charging units a year. Blink says it hopes to become a key player in this rapidly expanding industry. Ford is being slapped with a huge fine for evading U.S. import tariffs. The company is paying $365 million to settle allegations that it misclassified and understated the value of hundreds of thousands of Transit Connect vans that were imported from Turkey between 2009 and 2013, which allowed it to avoid paying higher tariffs. The Justice Department says it's one of the largest custom penalty settlements in recent history. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is launching a new ratings program for partial driving automation systems to help try and push car companies to improve their safety. Out of the 14 systems that it tested, only one, the Lexus LS's Teammate system, received an acceptable rating, while 2 were deemed marginal and 11 were rated poor. The evaluation covered systems from BMW, Ford, General Motors, Genesis, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Tesla, and Volvo. IIHS President David Harkey said, most systems lacked adequate measures to prevent misuse and maintain driver focus on the road. The test highlighted deficiencies in monitoring driver attention reminders, emergency procedures, driver involvement, and adherence to safety features. The IIHS was also concerned how quickly these systems are being integrated, but did say improvements are possible through software updates. The IIHS hopes the ratings will lead to enhancements to reduce misuse and improve safety in the systems. Volvo is partnering with Breathe Battery Technologies to get access to its charging software. Volvo will integrate Breathe software into its battery management platform to optimize charging performance with faster charging times of up to 30%. Breeze adaptive charging software dynamically controls the battery in real time, significantly reducing charging times while preserving battery health and lifespan. Volvo says the partnership is part of its goal of achieving full electrification by 2030. The Rogue is Nissan's best-selling model in the US, but it's having trouble selling 2023 model year examples. According to Edmunds, there are about 24,000 2023 model year Rogues at Nissan dealerships, or about 2/3 of Rogue inventory. To put that in perspective, 2023 Hyundai Tucsons account for 1.7% of Tucson inventory, and 2023 Equinoxes account for 2.7% of the crossover's inventory at Chevy dealerships. So to help boost sales of the Rogue, Automotive News reports that the company is offering dealers $1,000 for each 2023 Rogue that they sell in March if they meet their sales target for the model. But the Rogue isn't the only model Nissan is having trouble selling. Its supply of vehicles was at 112 days at the end of January, compared to the industry average of 80 days. So to help clear that inventory, Nissan spent $3,210 per vehicle on incentives in February. EV demand has slowed and EV prices are still relatively high, which has some automakers bringing back and extending ICE programs. Mercedes was supposed to stop production of the A-Class this year, but it will stick around a few more years at least into 2026. The A-Class is Mercedes' entry-level car in Europe, and CEO Ola Källenius says EVs won't reach cost parity with ICEs for many years, which likely factored into keeping the A-Class around. Americans aren't the only ones getting a new mail truck. Morgan Olson revealed a new right-hand drive electric mail truck for postal workers in Canada. The model, called the C250E, is actually based on the Rivian delivery van chassis and uses Rivian's electronic architecture. But the body is installed by commercial vehicle upfitter JB Poindexter. No word when the vehicles might go into service, but Rivian told publication Fleet Owner that this is, quote, potentially the first step of a very strong partnership. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for making Autoline a part of your day.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey, and by Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering. Boost your game. We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.